The reliever market is surging ahead, yet the Cardinals have held on to their top lefty, JoJo Romero, risking a lost opportunity that could shape the team's trade future.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafron, a former national radio sports anchor, born and raised in St. Louis and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And welcome to another episode of Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Thank you to our everydayers for continuing to be here with us each and every day. And for those of you who are brand new to Locked On Cardinals, I hope you enjoy this content. This is a show that serves Cardinal Nation and gives you all the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. If you be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. On today's show, we've got news and notes from around the league, including a new NL suitor for Alex Bregman, which could affect the Nolan Arenado trade market a bit, who was selected as the likely new #1 prospect for the Cardinals when J.J. Weatherholt is finally brought up. Plus, we got the figures for the new Dustin May contract to talk about as well. But we start today's show with the trade market for Cardinals left-hander JoJo Romero. Now, trades involving Brendan Donovan, Wilson Contreras, and Nolan Arenado, they're certainly going to create bigger headlines than a JoJo Romero trade if and when they happen. But the need for bullpen arms is at a frenzy right now. Like, the market's going crazy for all the relievers, with teams signing multiple guys, not just relievers, but also closers. Like, some of these guys are doubling up on guys that are considered closers. We've had former Cardinal first-round pick Luke Weaver has jumped from the Yankees to the Mets on a 2-year deal, joining Devin Williams. Right-hander Brad Keller is moving from the Cubs to the Phillies on a 2-year deal. They already have Yohan Duran. Closer Kenley Jansen is headed to Detroit on a 1-year deal. He's joining closer Kyle Finnegan, who re-signed there on a 2-year deal. The Cubs ended up losing Keller, but they have signed left-handers Hobie Milner and Caleb Thielbar, along with former Cardinal Phil Maton. So they're really making some moves as far as the look of their bullpen coming up this year. The Reds re-signed Emilio Pagan, got Keegan Thompson, and brought in lefty Caleb Ferguson. The Angels have grabbed left-hander Drew Pomeranz and right-hander Jordan Romano. The Braves re-signed Razel Iglesias, but then also brought in Robert Suarez to pair with him. So you got two considered top-of-the-line closers there in Atlanta. They also brought in Yoel Payamps and lefty Danny Young. So the Braves redoing their whole bullpen, it seems like. Edwin Diaz goes to the Dodgers. Ryan Helsley to Baltimore. Tyler Rogers to Toronto. Mark Leiter Jr. to the A's. Like, I'm just going through the list here. Chris Martin, Tyler Alexander, and Alexis Diaz go to the Rangers. Gregory Soto went to Pittsburgh. Jason Foley and lefty Sam Hentges to the Giants. And there's other ones out there. Those are just some of the more notable names that have been signed to other teams already. And in this game of reliever musical chairs, the Cardinals, who are looking to cash in on teams looking for back of the bullpen arms, specifically left-handers, and hoping that they'd be willing to trade some solid assets in exchange for the services of JoJo Romero, might get left out. Might not be happening. And so far, they haven't found a deal that they like, as far as we know. And now I'm wondering if they will. I don't know. And I'm not one of those that says, yeah, we got to get rid of them. I'm okay with JoJo coming back. I think that's fine. Some fans question the idea of trading him at all when they don't have any left-handed relievers of depth behind him. Nick Castellanos is the only person, like, on the 40-man. So it's a fair question. Like, what are we doing? Our buddy Jeff Jones from the Business News Democrat wrote about the Cardinals shopping Romero while also doing some shopping for their own bullpen in the process, specifically in the left-handed market. In his article, which I'll link in the description and the show notes, he describes the situation as this. By trading JoJo Romero now and capitalizing on a market that is hungry for left-handed relievers, the Cardinals give themselves two opportunities. If they receive assets for Romero in the short term, those can become long-term pieces in the organization. Any free agent signed is also likely to be on a 1-year deal, or at most 1 year with an option for a second, and could become another trade asset in August. So you could say they're doing kind of the same thing that they're doing with Brendan Donovan, if you really think about it. Neither Donnie or JoJo have to be traded. All right. This is not something it's not like Nolan Arenado, where they're trying to get his money off the books. They want to open up a spot for somebody else. Brendan Donovan, they would find a spot for him. JoJo's got a spot, a big spot in this bullpen right now. They don't have to trade these guys, but if the market surrounding them has teams willing to overpay for them, you at least have to see how none of these teams will get. You just got to check in and see what they're willing to do. And it's not like JoJo doesn't have the stats to back up the idea of asking for a decent amount in return for him. Jeff threw this nugget out there in this article as well. Among full-time left-handed relievers who have thrown at least 100 innings over the last 3 seasons, Romero ranks 4th in the majors in ERA+, which measures pitchers against league average. The 3 southpaws ahead of him, Josh Hader, Tanner Scott, and Aroldis Chapman, have all been big money free agents considered among the elite of the game's bullpen arms. We do not speak of JoJo Romero as one of the elite left-handed arms in baseball, but when you look at some of the stats, maybe you should. Maybe he should be thought of that way. And if you're going to trade him, should be traded as one of the best left-handed pitchers in the game. But as teams continue to fill their rosters and sign guys, I'm just beginning to wonder if the time for a deal has passed, or are the Cardinals cooking up trades that could include, multiple players, where it could be Donnie and JoJo going somewhere. I mean, think about the massive haul that you would get in return if you put both of them in one deal. Like, what could that net you? Probably something decent, but I don't know if they're going to do that or not. That remains to be seen. But even if they don't move JoJo and they hang on to him, they still need to sign someone to face lefties behind Romero. So the names that remain out there are still the guys that I've been mentioning since the offseason started, really. Danny Colum, Sean Newcomb, Andrew Chafin. They all make sense. Veterans, specifically Chafin and Colum, who are, older veterans that are used to being on the move. It's not anything new to them. Newcomb's also bounced around a little bit, but I wonder if somebody's going to overpay for Sean Newcomb. I'm not sure. But either way, those are 3 guys that I feel like would fit. You can toss in other guys that, are a tier below, in my opinion. Jalen Beeks, Taylor Rogers, Brent Suter, Cam Boozer, Taylor Saucedo. All of them have found success at the major league level in some way, shape, or form. None of them have been as good as JoJo by any means. So depending on how big other teams' needs are for a lefty at this point, the Cardinals might still have some shoppers, but I wonder if they're just going to end up keeping him and sign one of these other guys to fill in as depth behind him and, try to shop him near the trade deadline instead. Obviously, there's a risk. There's a risk involved there with injury, with production, declining. Could happen. We saw it happen to Ryan Helsley. He stayed healthy, but production declined, so it wasn't quite as big a haul as we thought we were going to get. And then you look at what he did with the Mets afterwards. You're like, well, I'm glad we got anything at all for him. But he's Baltimore's property now. So, but where are you on the idea of trading JoJo Romero? Do you prefer it to still happen? Do you want to keep him at this point? Any of those lefties that I mentioned, do they stand out to you as somebody you would want in a Cardinals uniform coming up this season? Let me know down in the comments section and on X. The numbers for Dustin May's contract are in. We'll share those with you next. Plus, who was selected as the heir apparent to J.J. Weatherholt's throne as the Cardinals' #1 prospect? We'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's why making live betting and doing the live betting with FanDuel is very much the most exciting and fun way to go, where you're not just watching the game anymore. You're actually reacting to it in real time. Now with FanDuel, you're allowed to place bets as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is always best when things are starting to shift a little bit. The game starts to move in a different direction. Certain players get hot. Your defense tightens up and gets a turnover, or just something that happens where the momentum flips, maybe a blocked field goal. And FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads and money lines adjusting instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. Big matchup coming up on Thursday Night Football. It's going to be the Rams at the Seahawks. Seahawks defense is awesome. Devontae Adams might be out for the Rams with that hamstring injury. What are they going to do to Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua, who have been amazing together this year yet again? We'll see how the Seahawks can handle it because they didn't handle Phillip Rivers all that well against the Colts. They got the win, but it wasn't pretty. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com. Place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day, so why not take it up a level and go ad-free? You can join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Cardinals with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. You go to LockedOnSTLCardinals.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. So Dustin May, we knew the signing, it was going to happen, wasn't official yet, and we didn't know what the numbers were. But that deal has been finalized. It happened late here on Wednesday afternoon. And, I kind of had it between Chris Roycroft and Matt Koperniak. I mean, when I was thinking about when I'm putting this together and I'm like, all right, who's more likely to get DFA? Because they had to make a move eventually. And you knew it was going to come today if they were going to announce the numbers. They were going to be like, all right, well, somebody's got to go. We thought maybe that a trade might be going down or something. That didn't happen. It was Matt Koperniak who ended up getting the bad news on Wednesday. Had that big year in 2024 for Memphis when he hit 309, 20 bombs, 73 ribbies. Was coming off a nice 2023 where he hit a combined 287 with 18 home runs and 85 RBIs at AA and AAA. Most of that damage done at AAA, by the way. But last year, the numbers slipped. He dipped to 246 average, 14 home runs, 65 RBIs. He's going to be 28 years old in February. Could still be brought back because there's certainly going to be fans that are like, how the hell can you cut Koperniak? They're going to be out there. They're going to be out there. And it's not over. He could be brought back. Team has 7 days to trade, release, or send him outright to the minors. So it may not be goodbye just yet. But if he was a right-handed hitter, he'd have a better shot at sticking around. We just have so many lefties already. And it's something that they gotta balance out, man. They got to get some right-handed hitters in here. So you know what else they have acquired a decent amount of recently too, to go along with all the lefties they got? Redheads. Have you noticed that? So you got Dustin May with do I have a crazy picture of Dustin? Here's a good one. There's a good one with this crazy carrot top do coming out. You got Chris Roycroft, who's still here. And I get why, because he's 6'8", and they feel like they can do something to make him, really hard to hit, although it hasn't come to fruition. But 6'8", he's got a gnarly beard. Zach Kent's got a strong ginger beard as well. They got him from Cleveland. Liam Doyle is kind of a reddish blonde. Team fired, man. Let's go. But anyways, here's the numbers for Dustin May. As reported by all the normal characters out there, Jeff Passan, Derek Gould, etc., he's going to make $12.5 million this year, and the mutual option for the 2027 season is for $20 million. Jeff Jones adds that per his source, Dustin May's 26 salary is actually $12 million, has a $500,000 buyout on the $20 million mutual option, making 12.5 is his total guarantee. Got a poll on X asking whether you think it's an overpay or not. Early voting so far strongly in the direction of no, they did not overpay. 77.3% of the vote last time I looked. It was continuing to roll. So feel free to jump online and check it out if you haven't already. We'll talk more about this subject in an upcoming episode as far as whether or not it was an overpay or not for Dustin May. But at least you got the numbers now. When you think about, and everybody is going to think about $12.5 million and go, oh my gosh, that's so much money. But is it that much money in this game of baseball these days? Like, what have the Cardinals paid some of these other crappier pitchers? What were they paying Miles Michaelis last year? All right, think about that. We'll get back to that subject in another episode, okay? But I did see this. I want to bring this up. Saw this on MLB.com. Sam Dykstra wrote this yesterday, and he went through all the teams and all the organizations, guessing who's going to be each club's #1 prospect a year from now. J.J. Weatherholt has been the guy for the Cardinals basically since they drafted him. Currently, right behind him, it is Liam Doyle at #2, according to MLB Pipeline. So he would be the easy choice to take over the mantle, right? First-round pick. left-handed flamethrower, known for the heat on his fastball, as well as that fiery personality that he brings on the mound, which I still wonder if that's going to rub some Cardinal fans the wrong way, just the way he is on the mound. A lot of swagger. And Cardinal fans, we're Midwest people, so I wonder if people are going to get annoyed by that, but we'll see. But that is not who Dykstra chose. He did not. He went for the guy who currently resides at number 3 on the list, and that's 18-year-old catcher Rainiel Rodriguez. Now, Dykstra writes, after moving stateside in 25, Rodriguez could be a 30-homer threat before he reaches his 20s, and that's incredibly valuable for someone who makes a living behind the plate. Now, if you haven't seen footage of the soon-to-be 19-year-old, he does have a birthday coming up on January 4th, so he will be 19. Still a teenager, though. You're really doing yourself a disservice. Go look it up, because the guy absolutely mashes the baseball. Nukes, tanks, bombs, whatever you want to label hard hit balls these days, he does it. He hits the hell out of them. Last year was technically his second season in pro ball, but it was his first full season. First year in 2024, he was in the Dominican Summer League and went bonkers. 345, 10 home runs, 38 RBIs in 41 games. Then last year, started in the Florida Complex. Let's put a picture of him up there for you. There he is. Started in the Florida Complex League, hit 373, 7 dingers, 16 ribbies in 20 games, gets bumped to A-ball at Palm Beach, 249 but 13 home runs, 43 RBIs in 60 games. Then he gets up to high A Peoria for 4 games before the end of the season. No home runs, but batted 294, drove in 4 in just 17 at-bats. The swing, he just looks like when he steps in the box, you know how you can just tell when somebody looks like he can kill the baseball. That's what this kid looks like. He's an absolute unit. I sure as hell did not look like him when I was 18 years old. Look at the thick legs. If you're looking on the video version right now, look at the thick legs, the base, which you love in a catcher. He's 5'10", nice big target to throw to for pitchers. Pitchers love that. 6'3" guys that are lean. It's not as good. 5'10" with a big butt and big leg. That's what we want to throw to. Big targets. So you can see why scouts are excited about him and why he's ranked number 6 among all minor league catchers in baseball by MLB Pipeline. So a huge future for this kid, and really glad that the Cardinals are the ones that will get to enjoy the fruits of his labors. And another note to this, by Dykstra not picking Doyle, this was another thing that I just thought of. By not picking Liam Doyle, perhaps Dykstra believes that he might already be up on the big club by this point next year. Could happen. Could happen. If he pitches really, really well at Double-A next year, which is where I think he's going to start, and does really, really well at Triple-A, and you see guys either get traded or you see guys go down with injuries, I could see a Liam Doyle appearance in the major leagues next year. We're talking about a guy coming out of college. This is not somebody who's coming up from high school. So I could see it. I don't think that they want that to happen. I hope that doesn't need to happen. But if he's good enough, in my opinion, I'll watch him. I wanted to see JJ Weatherholt this year, but they said, what's the rush? No big deal. I get it. But it could happen. And Rodriguez, in my opinion, is likely to begin at high A Peoria, since he just sniffed it 4 games, 17 at-bats there last year. And we'll probably get to Double-A this year at some point. Leonardo Bernal, who's their other big catching prospect, he should be at Triple-A at some point. You've got Herrera, you got Crooks, you got Pajes, you got Pozo still in the organization as well. So a nice stable of catchers, which is a good thing to have. MLB news and notes are next, including a new National League team that might be in on Alex Bregman, which could affect what's going on with Nolan Arenado in the future. We'll talk about it next on Locked On Cardinals. Did Locked On Cardinals make your Spotify Wrapped? Then prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform. We'll drop you a code, and you can be one of our first people to join the Everydayer Club, which we just launched to get your favorite show, get it ad-free, which is great, and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. So there hasn't been a whole lot going on with Nolan Arenado, which we kind of expected. right? Nothing. There hasn't been a lot going on with the third base market in general, which is why you're not hearing much about Arenado. He's not top of the totem pole. He's down here in the pecking order, and the top guys are still available and haven't gone anywhere. Alex Bregman, Eugenio Suarez, Murakami from Japan, although I was reading that most people think he's going to be a first baseman, but there's still a few guys ahead of Nolan Arenado. John Heyman reports that a new NL team is in on him and is thinking about talking to Alex Bregman, and that's the Arizona Diamondbacks. We know that they've been shopping Ketel Marte, so that's something that needs to get worked out, obviously, if you're going to add another big contract like an Alex Bregman. Marte, by the way, did you guys see that where the Cardinals were on his no-trade list? And there wasn't a lot of people on there. And it's kind of random teams, like no Cardinals, no Yankees, no Pirates, no Giants, no A's. How the hell? How are the Cardinals and how'd they get on that list? What the hell did we ever do to you, man? But the Red Sox, as far as I could tell, clearly wanted to bring Alex Bregman back. He was a good fit. They seem to like him. Top option there. Cubs have been mentioned as well as somebody who's interested in Alex Bregman. Would hate to see him come to the NL Central. Don't need to do that because he's good. Arizona and Boston are two spots I thought Nato might fit in. So if he ends up at one of those two, the other person might be looking for a third baseman still. The other one was the Phillies. They still got to move Alec Boehm if they decide to do that and bring in Arenado as like a veteran guy that would fit in their clubhouse. I feel like that could work too. But again, Alec Boehm is still there. So we'll see what ends up happening. I know a lot of people are getting worried that Arenado is going to be back in St. Louis this year and that we're going to be stuck with him, which is like a horrible thing to say considering who Nolan Arenado is. But I understand it. This is 2 years in a row where we're like, dude, let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's get you somewhere else and where you can be happy and finish off this contract. And man, it just isn't happening, is it? So we'll see. Maybe somebody else come up with an idea. I also heard somebody thinking about, was it Morosi? John Paul Morosi that was talking. I don't know. I watched so many videos that it's hard to keep up, but I feel like he was talking about, if Seattle would be interested in getting Donovan and Arenado, if the Cardinals could make that work somehow. I don't know. That seems awfully complicated, but I don't know. Maybe they can work it out. The smart people are in charge. Speaking of the Phillies, after signing Adolis Garcia, they now have their outfield full. Garcia's in right. Brandon Marsh is going to be in center. They've got their prospect Justin Crawford in left field. Otto Kemp is there. Weston Wilson is there as well. Nick Castellanos appears to be the odd man out in Philly. Another former Cardinal nemesis, if you remember his days with the Cincinnati Reds. He's going to get moved at some point, it seems. Source told MLB.com's Todd Zolecki that they have found little to no interest on the trade market for Nick Castellanos, even with the club willing to pay millions of Castellanos' salary, and that if he isn't traded, they will release him. It feels like a very Nolan Arenado situation, right? Cardinals are looking for right-handed bats, last time I checked. I know he's not very good in the outfield. So I'm just throwing it out there. If you're looking for a veteran bat, 1 year left on his deal, it's $20 million. But if Phillies are able to eat a ton of that, change of scenery guy, something to prove, got some attitude, which I'm not against. Don't know what the financials would be, but I'm just throwing it out there. Would you be interested in Nick Castellanos? Think about it. Just think about it. Don't react right away. Let me know in the comments. And then I just felt like this was not a sad story, but talk about timing. John Kenzie Noel, otherwise known as Big Christmas, designated for assignment by the Guardians today, gets the bad news 8 days before Christmas, 7 days, depending on when you're listening to this, before Christmas. It's rough, man. 6'3", 250-pound outfielder. Crazy pop, right? 27 home runs at AAA in 2023. Can hit it a ton. Still just 24 years old, but strikes out a ton as well. A lot of swing and miss in his game. So I'm sure he'll find a home somewhere if he's not back with Cleveland. But another right-handed bat, big dude, young, just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. I'm not saying it's the smartest move. Just throwing it out there. What do you guys think about it? Castellanos, Noel, I don't know. Think about it. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube and help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. We're going because we're moving on from this episode. For those of you who are on video, we are going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure that your second listen is Locked On MLB, which is where accidentally the Cardinals audio was sent yesterday. Apologies. That was my fault. We'll make sure it gets in the right spot this time around. You're the best fans of baseball for a reason. We'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.